Hi, I'm Lisa Falvo. I am here today in Lifeworks. I am doing an interview series, and today we're dealing with the word hope. The SHARE project stands for Spreading Hope and Awareness and Removing the Epidemic Stigma. And today we are spreading hope. The Lifeworks program, directed by Ricky Lynn Mahathi, is a mentorship program that is specifically for women. It's women mentoring women, and women that have come into this program ready to embark on the next stage of their life. And Lifeworks is about teaching them life skills, basically, in a nutshell. And we're going to talk more about that, specifically with Ricky Lynn. She's going to tell us a little bit more about the program, but I want you to start with telling me a little bit more about you, a little bit about your story, how you came into this, because I know there's got to be a story there for and that, you know, your passion for doing this.
Absolutely.
So yes, tell me.
Because when you work a job that's really your heart, you never work a day in your life.
That's
and
right.
So I don't go to work. I come every day to spread hope. So my name is Ricky Lynn Mahathi. I'm actually from Haywood County, born and raised. You can probably tell that by my accent. And I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren that we've always been here. They've never left and I've never left. I was born to Ricky Mahathi. My dad's name is Ricky, so I was the firstborn namesake. And so I had a relatively good life here in Haywood County, but as most of us do, I began to rebel at a very early age. There were lots of things that had come against me, and I began to rebel and was wrapped up in drugs and alcohol and illicit relationships for many years of my life, actually up until 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, so for a very long time. And there was a point in my life that I came to, I call it a crossroads, and I had a decision to make. Am I going to keep going down this same road? Am I going to keep doing what I've always done? Or am I going to choose to do something different? And fortunately for me, there were people in my path that directed me in a new direction and then rallied around me to keep me in that place until I was strong enough to stand myself.
So. That crossroads that we all come to at some point, and whether it be at a younger age or way on in life. Yes, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about Lifeworks then. How do ladies find out about the program, for one thing? What Lifeworks does, is there requirements for getting into Lifeworks? So tell me a little bit more.
So Lifeworks was founded in 2010, so we are going into our 11th year this fall.
Right here in Haywood County?
Right here in Haywood County,
So
right here in this
1
building.
year after that crossroads, let me point out. Okay, right?
Right
here? Okay.
Right here.
So,
right.
well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been here, we're going into our 11th year, so we're tried and true program. I don't like the word program, but that's in reality, that's what it's a way of life. It's a moving into a new way of life,
Yes.
and we're just guiding and directing. There is an intake process. We never turn anyone away. We do require, as you commit to be here and be a part of Lifeworks, that you do say you will not be actively using when you're in this building, when you're participating.
Okay.
I have been here now, I've personally been here for 5 years and have never had to ask anybody to leave, have never had to just say you're not welcome here. And unless something horrible happens, that won't ever happen, because Genesis 1:26-27 says that we're created in the image of God. So all those that we tend to turn our nose up at or look at in a wrong way are also created in that same image. And I take it on as my responsibility to model that and to teach them that who they are.
would you say that part of the reason that in that 5 years that you've never had to turn anybody away because of use is because they've come to the point where they're ready?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I say a lot of times people will find out that we're a Christ-centered program and they won't send people our way. And I just say, you send them and we'll let the Lord deal with that. If they're not ready, they're not going to stay, and that's okay because they always come back. When they're not ready, they'll come and they'll stay. They love being here, but there may be something that they're not quite ready to commit to. But so far, they always just circle back through and we end up getting them again.
Yeah, because oftentimes, when we're referring or talking about different programs that that you want to recommend to somebody, you don't want to be an affront, if you will, that it's a faith-based program.
You don't have to be saved, healed, and delivered to be here. That's what happens here.
Yes, exactly. Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
And as far as expense, no, we are a nonprofit 501c3, and we depend on donations from churches and individuals here in our county.
And they've been here this long, so you're obviously doing something right. So
and
tell
growing.
me, yes, absolutely. So tell me, go ahead and give me some details about the program. When they come in, what do they, what do they expect to learn? What do they expect to take away? I mean, do they learn how to cook? Do they learn, give me some of the ideas of what the classes are.
Okay.
It's an 8-week class right now, right?
Yes, the job enrichment class is 8 weeks.
Okay.
And then the second 8 weeks of that, there's a step 2. They will actually go to work inside this building, or we will work with Voc Rehab, NC Works, other places to begin to get them work ready to take on a job.
Excellent, yes.
So we call it job enrichment classes because what I've learned over the course of being here and changing things is that all we're really doing is God has birthed every single one of us with gifts and talents. He's put skills and abilities in us that nobody else has. And so all we're doing is a lot of time when we get off course, we lose those things. We don't recognize them anymore. They get buried under what we've chosen over work history or those things that we've been doing. So all we really do is they come in and we love them where they're at. And we begin to love them to the degree that we begin to draw out those things that are really in them. We have a lady that just started a few weeks. She came through summer and now she's in the fall semester with us. And I don't have to ask her. She started to take the trash out and she's wiping the tables off. And it's just like she knows what to do. And it's because she's in an environment of people that are encouraging her and making her see that she's of value and of worth. And that's really what we do. If the basis, the bottom line is that we're only calling those things out that are already in these ladies. We're polishing off the rough edges and we're getting them ready to go out and be a part of our society
and giving them a space to do that in, where they oftentimes maybe haven't had a space to do that.
Absolutely. I have, most of the time, had one lady in particular last year, she said, I love being here because when I'm here, it's like the whole world is shut out. I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just think about me and what's best for me and what I need to do from here. That's a safe haven. They come in, they share their secrets, they share the deepest parts of who they are, and they're protected in that. Nothing is ever.
So it's a family in a way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think I asked, but I don't think you answered. How do people get into?
How do they know?
Yeah. How do they know about you?
Okay.
How are they referred to you?
Okay.
Basically.
So a lot of that comes from me being in the community.
Okay.
Word of mouth.
Yes.
We are supported by several churches, so a lot of times they will invite me in to speak, that kind of thing, and then they also put me out in the community. A lot of pastors, if they're counseling people, will send ladies our direction. We have Facebook, we have a website, we have YouTube channel that has testimonies of the girls that have come through here as well as mine. There are lots of ways that we get out in the community. Word of mouth is probably one of the greatest, because when a girl goes through here, and I say girl, they're women, they're just all girls. But when they come through here and they really get that transformation and change, and they go out, they are giving credit to the Lord because it's Him, but they always are saying, Lifeworks helped me through this
Well, and it's bound to be a noticeable change.
Absolutely.
You know, for people that are in their life, it's got to be noticeable, and they're going to be asking, you know, what's going on, what's brought on the change.
Absolutely.
You know? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a couple of stories of the ladies, if you don't mind. Okay.
Oh.
You know, you referenced a couple, you know, but you know, from shortly from start to finish, if you will, and where they end up, what some of the success stories are.
Before I go there, I want to say that I said, you know, they'll come back through. So what I say to the girls is what the Lord said to me a long time ago. I will never leave you. You may leave, but I will never leave you. So they always know there's an open door here, and they can always come back. So it's called a revolving door. And a lot of girls come in, they're not ready, they go back out. They come in. But I want you to know that I've heard stories of girls going back out and trying to help other girls in the street come in here. Wow. It didn't work for me right now, but it might work for you. And so we get a lot of that even. But success stories, there's many, but the most recent one that's on my heart is 3 years ago, I started class. The summer, I usually have a summer Bible study and what I do that for is to kind of get the girls acclimated to the space, get them comfortable, get them knowing who we are, and that it is a safe place for them to be. So I always open the door for just a couple hour Bible study. And so this lady in particular came in. She had been a teacher. I just want to share this story because people come to us from all walks of life. Lifeworks is for every woman. It's not just for those that are struggling in drug addiction or those. It's for every woman. And so she had been a teacher. She moved here from Florida, her and her family, to get away from some things. And they got up here. She got a job immediately at a school. And within about a month of being here, her husband got sick with leukemia and almost died. And what that done to her, she had to leave her job, and she spiraled down and started doing some severe things that to deal with, because when we don't know how to deal with things, we go to the things that we've always run to. And so she was just spiraling out of control. And she had actually given her heart to the Lord a little bit earlier when she first got here. And so her pastor's wife referred her here. And she started here. And when they start, we do some assessments. We do a personality assessment. We do an interest assessment. We do a spiritual gifts assessment. And what that does is it begins to show these women that they do have things of value in them. And so she begins the classes, but she's really reserved. She's within herself. There's just lots of things that she's going on. She would not sit at the table to eat with us. But over the course of the next few months, she began to participate in class, began to be a part a little bit, open up more. And one of her goals, because we set goals in the very beginning, one of her goals was she wanted to get back to work. So I would love to tell you that these girls come in here in 8 weeks, 16 weeks, 28 weeks, whatever, ever how long they're here, that they get, that everything's fixed and they're wonderful, but that's not the way it happens. But what they do is they begin to take steps in the right direction, and as they take those steps, they're met, and it changes them. And as they change, they get to take another step. And so she's taken these steps, and so she's taken huge strides. And so she comes to the next summer. She's been here a year now, and she says, I really want to go back to work. She starts filling out job applications because she wants to go back to teaching. She's now more stable than she has been, and she's doing better. And we really began to pray and ask the Lord to give her the job that was for her, because the wrong job would spiral her again.
Yeah.
And so we really began to look at that. And there was a job opening at our Christian school, and she was able to be hired on at that Christian school. So now she's going into her third year teaching there.
Wow.
And has exited from having that family and that support here, although she comes back for Bible study and stuff sometimes. But she's exited from here and now has a new family and support system with her.
Yes.
And I feel confident that that was for her, because I felt like if she went back into the public school and didn't have that support that she needed, that it would have changed that.
Yeah.
So she's a huge success. I actually was with her last night at school.
Nice.
They're getting ready to start their new year. And I was able to be there and be a part of that last year. So she is a huge asset to what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's great. Great.
And so again, there's many, many more. But the next one that I would like to talk about is sitting at this table with us.
Yes.
Staci.
Yes.
And so Staci came into Lifeworks almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, close to.
Wow.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And she came in, and she had made some changes in her life. She had, and she was doing some things different. But there are some things that you have to deal with when you begin this journey that she wasn't quite ready to deal with yet. And so Staci is an example of sometimes people get mad at you.
Oh boy.
But again, we serve a loving God, and He allows for mistakes, and He allows for my mistakes, and He allows for my failures, and so therefore He gives me what I need to allow for other people's mistakes and other people's failures. So Staci kind of got upset with me. I wasn't what she wanted me to be, and she kind of really got angry and upset with me, and she left. I never quit praying for her. I have a board that I keep names on, and I pray, and I loved her. I continue to love her when I saw her, and I just knew that she was going to come back.
Yeah.
And so last year, in November of last year, she began to call me again. And she was back in homelessness, and she'll share some of that, but she was back in homelessness, and she was kind of back, I kind of call it a wheel, and so sometimes we jump off, but if we don't deal with everything, it don't take us but a minute to jump back on.
Right.
But so now she's back at this place of desperation, and she's ready to do something different. And so I began to talk to her on the phone a little bit and invite her, and I said, when you're ready, you just come on back. And so in January of last year, she came, and when she came this time, she was ready to be done with everything. She was ready to lay aside all those things that had kept her down, and she was ready to move forward. And move forward did she. By leaps and bounds.
Well, she was ready at that point.
She was pilot, so to speak, because I'd really been thinking about narrowing things down and shortening things. She was pilot, and she's proof that it works, because she started in January, and she made, and she went through COVID. So we weren't in person. We had to do Zoom class and Facebook and all that stuff. But she grew by leaps and bounds, and she was ready. So at this time, I want to share that. So what happened was I have partnered with Caitlin's house, which you have, and what I've done is I've just partnered with them like I have other agencies and other places. And so we are part of the recovery process for those girls. So those girls will come to us, and they'll come and get part of their recovery here. And so Staci has stepped into the role of being a part of that house,
which is where I saw her. Yes.
Take it over.
Yes. So a perfect entryway into the whole. So tell me a little bit more about you. I can actually pick up right in January, basically, because that's when I met you.
Yep.
Was in January.
Yes, you're right.
I met you at Pathways. I've been doing some exercise programs there with the ladies,
Yeah.
and I met you there
True.
and saw you pretty much every time we were talking. She
Yes.
were doing some Celebrate Recovery at that point. You did not mention this particular program. I don't think at the time that might have been a little,
Yeah, maybe in the
you know, or we
works.
just didn't talk about
Right.
it. But we always had good conversation.
True.
I do remember
True.
that. We always had good conversation, and I was encouraged by the things that she was doing at that time. So anyway, yeah, so pick up, give us a little bit of your backstory then, kind of go backwards from January.
Okay. I did, you know, with Ricky Lynn, I had an issue with her. I was very actually mad at her, like she said. I might have said some ugly things, but God never stopped pursuing me.
Yes.
I took off and jumped in a truck with 2 other women working on a monster truck show.
Whoa.
I'm a late bloomer, like you were talking about. At 45, I knew this had to stop. And by this, I mean the chaos of my life.
Yes. Yeah.
It gets tiring for one thing, and I just finally reached a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. This was okay when I was younger, maybe, but probably not. But it was just, it gets tiring.
It gets tiring.
And it takes its toll.
Yes. Yes.
Weighs you down, it's a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And are you from this area?
Oh no, I was born in Titusville, Florida, and raised in Volusia County, Daytona, Holly Hill.
Okay. What got you to North Carolina then? Or at least, well, yeah, North Carolina, and then specifically here. How did you end up here?
Me and my oldest daughter moved down to Florida to help a friend of mine who'd gotten Lyme disease.
Okay.
She wanted to coma, she couldn't. Well, that was a whole lot of more drugs and drinking than doing anything else at the house.
Okay.
My oldest daughter joined me. We had both left Michigan.
Right.
And we called my brother who had moved up here with his, at the time, girlfriend. And they talked us into coming up here.
Okay. Okay. And when was that? How many years ago?
Good God, 2008.
Okay.
Say June and July.
Okay. So
My grandson was 8 months. He's now 13.
Okay.
So,
So good
yeah.
time. Good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been in the area then
Off
since
and
then,
on.
basically.
Yeah. I was always running, and I didn't know that. It just felt like what I should do is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, there's a lot, you know, that goes on in lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it taught me things that weren't true.
Yeah.
About myself, about who God was, about a lot of things.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember, you know, being taken to church from being a little tiny, maybe 5-year-old girl, and always feeling like God looked down on me.
Oh boy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like you couldn't live up to his
To his
expectations.
expectations, yes.
Yes. Yes.
And I felt like that for a long time in my life.
Yeah. And that's man. That's
yeah.
not God.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, you see, you know, and in Daytona Beach, honestly, I mean, it's one of the craziest places in the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned very early about partying in boys in fast cars and
Yes.
motorcycles, and
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So can you pinpoint then this time what would have been the turning point for you? What was different this time, either in January when you came or November? I can't remember, but
She came in January.
okay. So what beyond just that you were ready to stop running was, were you just tired? Is that?
Well, I
What
was
was the
tired,
starting
but
point
like I
then?
said, God never really stopped pursuing me, and I
Yeah.
could feel it, actively feel it. Unless it's happened, you don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew He was pursuing me.
And you knew that this was the place to find it.
Yes,
Am I right about that?
Absolutely.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
When you called me the first time, were you hesitant about calling? Did you
I was a little nervous.
Did
'cause
you
I
think I
thought-
was going to So how did you feel after you talked to me and I loved you just like I did from the beginning?
Honestly, Ricky, I thought you were a weirdo.
That's what I wanted to
I was
hear.
like, what the heck is wrong with this? Why is she always happy? She doesn't just look happy, she sounds happy. And I don't think I've ever really known true happiness until I found out who God and Christ are. And the Holy Spirit. I mean, I listened to man. I went by certain, you know. And it was, I didn't know until I knew. Because I honestly, at like 45 or maybe a little bit older, I still thought God was going, I don't know about that. You know, I don't know. She keeps doing that.
But
And
you
that's
came
why I
around,
think I probably got mad at Ricky because I was like, I'm not fucking telling her that. Nobody knows and they never will. And it wasn't about telling Ricky or anybody else. It was about letting God
soften your heart.
heal me. Oh yeah, I was very guarded. It was a lot. I was totally different. Just, you know, I was guarded with women, I was guarded with men.
So you learned to let your guard down when you were coming through this time around. And so tell me a little bit about your experience then when you came in, you were ready this time.
Yes, absolutely
so
ready.
You learned the things that you needed to learn.
Yes.
And so kind of pick up on that a little
Okay,
bit. What would have been some of the more interesting things that you learned here about yourself?
Okay.
And how that plays into what you are doing now, because you are a success story. You've gone on now to mentoring other women. That's right. So tell me a little bit about some of the highlights this time around.
I don't know if I'd call them highlights.
or
some of them are a little
things
painful.
that you learned about yourself.
Well, because I never knew that I didn't trust people. I thought I trusted people. I didn't trust myself. I was codependent, I would say, really super codependent. Like I said, it was just hard to trust me, no matter, everybody else. I knew God was pursuing me, and I felt it when He called me, because I turned around, and there He was. And that's one of the things I share with women. I'm like, you're not what they say. You're not. You did what you did, but you're not what they say. I got called a bad name in church one time.
So did you find really who you are?
Oh God, yes.
Because we teach identity
Yes,
and purpose.
absolutely.
Because I believe in my backstory is I didn't have a clue who I was. That's why I was always searching those things to make me somebody I wasn't. And so when you find out who you are, then you have a foundation and you know your worth and your value. And then you can move into your purpose. So often we're known by our purpose. I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm this, I'm that. And when you really learn who you are, then you realize that's your job, that's your purpose. It's not who you are. But so often women get enveloped in who they are by their job, by their title, by what they do.
And so I don't think that's just women. I think that's people in general.
In general,
absolutely. When you meet somebody, you ask, what do you do?
Right.
And that's, I think that is a very, very good point. As we tend to self-identify by what we do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we do our very best. We may spend 3 or 4 weeks on learning who we are because you've got so many misconceptions in your mind. I'm a drug addict. I'm a loser. I'm a bad mother. I'm all these things. So we have to allow the Lord to tear down those lies and build up who we really are. We're created in His image. We're daughters of the King. We are a prized possession. We are who He says we are. And when you get that as a foundation, and I tell the girls all the time, when you get a hold of that, you're unstoppable.
And just because that is part of your past, it does not define who you are.
Your past is your past.
Your past is your past. And you don't have to necessarily leave it in the dust, because it does define who you are now, as far as how you can be a part of somebody else's story. You know, you can then identify with that homeless person, or you can identify with the drug user, or the the one who had to leave a child behind, or whatever the case may be.
We don't live there anymore.
Yes.
We just visit it sometimes to help somebody else.
Perfectly said.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfectly said. Yes. Perfectly said. Yes. Okay. Anything else that you'd like to offer at all? Anything we missed? You're a part of Caitlin's house now. You're the house mom.
Yeah.
So how do you like that?
Well, and at one time I was having women were praying around me, Sue Ellen, and a couple other women, you and and when I asked to see what my home was going to look like, God showed me a door. Nothing behind it, just a door.
Just a door.
And I knew that I knew it was in her bedroom, like going into a bedroom. And I thought that my ministry was in another part of town with the homeless community, but God's really shown me different.
Yeah.
He's made you know that it's his ministry, not yours.
Yes, and he brought me up at Pathways.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done a Bible study or class until I started studying and writing. You know, I honestly, everything Ricky has said is absolutely true. I had such a, just low, and it's just, I don't have to feel that way anymore, because I know,
absolutely.
I know God truly loves me and wants what's good for me,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so this is one question, and this is a little different in this particular interview, but this is one question I've been asking everybody. In this area, as far as treatment and resources that there are in this area, you have been a part of some of the resources and the pathways, and then are there things that you see lacking that would be, that you would like to see there be more of, better, something that we don't have at all, that you would change here in Haywood County?
Well, the first thing I would love to change is that every person knows their worth and their value.
Yes.
And I believe that that's a commission to the church, because we carry the hope.
Yeah.
And instead of judging people, and instead of driving by them and turning our noses up, stop, give them some of your time, give them some of your attention. That's what we're lacking.
Yeah.
And then in the big scheme of things, I know that a detox center is a huge thing that's missing, because it's something that we really...
It's the first step.
Yes.
For many people, it is the first step. They can't go anywhere else.
So that's a hard thing. Yeah. And then more housing we need. And transitional housing, I love the transitional housing because it's the complete thing. They're getting what they need 24 hours a day.
A safe place.
Yes. And so we definitely need more transitional.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
And then hearts that are ready to change.
Yes. All right.
That is very true, You have to be ready.
You have to be ready.
You may not like it, but it'll be so much better.
Absolutely. You have to be ready. You can't make someone be ready. They have to be ready. And you are a testament to that.
Yes, absolutely.
It took a couple of tries. All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies. I appreciate your time. And I'm going to link the resources to this video. And if you want to find out anything more about the program, that we don't like to call a program, the mentorship of Lifeworks, and more about Ricky Lynn, I'll give you that information. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.